Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 5:30. It's time to open the bar, and we'd like to start with the first applicant, the Geraghties.
Yes.
So,
How did you know it was us?
so you'd like to come on up, and I was missing from the last meeting, but I hear if the progress made was removing the window, that extra window, and everything else seemed to be pretty good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got the revised plans now.
I didn't print out the new plan.
That's good.
Oh, okay.
Chance to look at that.
That was the only change that we
Yeah.
found, just removing the one window that we discussed.
And, so it's the Marvin windows and doors that we're using, which all looks very good. And
They were just the original photo sheet submitted on the first application. Just new plans underneath that reflect the window.
there we go. Right, and that's so it's just that side window, yeah, which is great because it's a wonderful sort of I don't want to use the word hodgepodge, but it's not, it's all symmetric and everything, which is adds to its charm, and
We didn't discuss those garage windows, but they're on the back side.
No, that makes sense.
Are you
So
making that into a studio, that garage?
No.
It's more like, but that's on the, it's away from the road, those additional windows, just one towards the road, but it's very sensitive to the existing one, so I don't think.
are there any other concerns or issues or points that we wanted to make about it? Did you have any other questions or concerns? Did any of the neighbors have any comments? Did eating my clothes, not all in the house.
Did you bring that in?
Yeah, I must have brought it. Did anyone in the audience have any comments or on Zoom? No, so I think we are ready.
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit behind, but the last elevation, which is the south, and there's no change now to this elevation.
That's his, yes,
Oh,
I think
okay.
that window was just removed from the plan.
Oh, I see. Okay, great. Because that was the only.
That was the only thing.
I would like to make a motion to approve the renovations, the additions of windows and doors and moving of the Geraghty residence at 32 Lookout Road, according to the plans submitted by Forum PHI from the date 5/3/23, project number 2121.00. Revised 5/16/2023, pages
563
cover
revised.
G100, A-10 1X, A101, A201, A202, A203, A204, A205, A601. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we have a unanimous 4-0 vote. Congratulations and good luck with that. We're looking forward to seeing.
Thank you for giving TLC to a beautiful house.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Desiree, do you need the?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Great.
This one?
Oh, it's all. I would like to invite up Scott Minster. So we've You have a new proposition of a new material, a new
I
color.
wasn't at the last meeting, but two people in attendance, questioned and everything, and I understand that the size of the tiles were, so, to credit, it's a lot more expensive, but I do like the different size
So,
tiles.
do you want to bring it forward?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it was the size, but also the material, because it's more the.
Yes, that specifically, and they said nothing was raised about the look or the material. I don't know.
No, the material definitely was discussed. That was the main, that was the
Okay, well, I
main.
asked for minutes and I wasn't given any, so I'm sorry, I apologize.
So, I mean, in the park, what would, you know, with these historical buildings and newer buildings as well, we're very much encouraging the use of natural materials. And so with a roof material in a synthetic material is not something that, you know, we've approved before. So this is what we have the problem with the, you know, the synthetic nature of.
And just to be clear, that if you're starting with natural, in other words, we've never approved moving to not natural. There are many roofs that are, say, asphalt shingle that can be then replaced in kind, but what's hard is moving from natural to synthetic,
Why is that?
because it makes it less conforming to the code.
It's going backwards. It's, you know, you've the quality of the house is there, and using a synthetic material is going backwards. If you had asphalt already, for example, and we're replacing with asphalt, well,
That's
it's
sort of grandfathered
It's-
in.
it's
That
this,
precedes the guidelines.
Okay.
and it's not a negative and it's not a positive. It's there, but. And we always are very thrilled when people would upgrade, like, you know, I've got to do that in my house, upgrade from asphalt up to cedar shake or slate or something like that. But to go backwards in our view, this is very clear to us that this is going back from a cedar to a synthetic is not something that we would approve. So it's that's the issue.
Okay. Do you take into consideration what the homeowner wants?
Oh, no, absolutely. Yes. I mean,
You-
this is
you
why
can't
we're here to have a
Okay.
discussion
You
to,
can't see even my house from the end of the driveway.
I mean, this is it.
It's beautiful. They actually have synthetic cedar. If you want the same look, it's just that the cedar, I don't know who made the site visit, but the cedar looks horrible there. It's covered in moss. It's just.
Well,
not a
because you
good-
have a lot of trees, right? And yeah,
Yeah.
which is, yeah, it's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's, I mean, this is the problem. To answer your question, that yes, yours may be hidden away in the woods and everything, but if we approved it, there would be a precedent, and then they would say, oh, Mrs. Buckminster had, you know, a synthetic roof, you know, we would like one. And
There is a precedent. The Stegman House on 232 Continental is a composite.
Which house is it?
Stegman? I would have included it in my, but I.
But that, my guess
Only
is,
found-
was it kind of round driveway? Was it round?
Is that Hume's? No, it's not. It's 232 Continental Road. Where is that?
Oh, is it the one that's sort of green colored?
No, it's not green, it's white. It's kind of green on this. I don't know. I think the house is white. Anyway, I
Orient
forgot.
myself,
Maybe it is green.
because
No, I can see white up there.
I'm just wondering about what the history of the roof was before this. In other words, it's possible that if it had been asphalt already, that a BAR previous to ours they may have come with such a material and they may have waved it through. I don't know.
But that's the thing, is it's just, you know.
Look, I don't know if it,
Depends on who's
That
on
would
the
be a
BAR.
sideways, it's more of a sideways move. It doesn't actually degrade the roof. to-
if it had started
you
as
know, it's-
asphalt, right?
So it's
We
a
don't know.
case
It
by
might be
case.
A different
But
bar,
that's-
BAR,
but-
so it depends on who's the BAR every time you.
So the question is, if we didn't know where they started, what the history was, then it's hard to think of this as a useful, comparison, because if had they started with cedar shake and then moved to this, I don't know what you call the product, but synthetic, then it would be a very useful kind of precedent. But I don't know that that's was the case. I can't imagine.
I can't imagine as well, because it's something. It's yes, as you said, the bar depends on the bar and different scenarios. But generally, there's one thing that we're very strong on is not using synthetic materials. And so this is, and for us, right from the beginning, when it was a proposed synthetic material, it was like that's going to be problematic. So I'm not sure what the alternatives are. Obviously, I don't know whether the house could take slate, whether it's strong enough.
Yeah, I've already
Right,
checked that.
right. It's so it's the
So we just have to do the cedar.
right. Yeah. That's the
So I saw in the mayor's presentation that he's encouraging, like, revisiting this and like introducing synthetic materials and even solar panels and things like that. So
I did
if I wait
absolutely,
6
which
months,
is
would I have a better chance?
well, with something so important as a roof, something like this that is so clearly sort of plastic. I don't think that's what he's thinking of composite materials. It's things that are less visible. There's more constructional things as well but not something so important and visible as a roof. So no, I mean, if he proposed it to us at the bar, I think we'd be very unanimously in saying that's not the route we want to take. We don't want to have synthetic roofs. Fortunately, I mean, I know it's 20 years. It seems a roof lasting 20 years seems to be a crime. But nowadays, I think with the cedar shakes, there's much more alternatives that maybe have longer longevity.
Also, there are,
Cedar's going to last longer now than it did 20 years ago.
I think they've developed.
it's not just the material of what you
And it's
have.
not natural. If they
So it's not just a question of the materials, like, you can have slate. I'll give an example. So in 2007, we replaced our entire roof from asphalt shingles to slate. We paid a fortune to do so, and it was bad work that we then have had to revisit now twice this summer, paying 3 times the amount we first did just to intervene. So a lot of it is not even the materials. The materials are something that this board is preoccupied with, as you can tell. But in terms of the longevity of the roof, it probably has at least as much to do with which contractor you're using, what sort of steps they're taking, what layers.
I've changed the roofing contractor on the advice of.
Yeah. So hopefully you have a good one. I would say
I hope so.
the best thing you can
Recommend it.
But the best thing you can do for the roof and for your own self-interest is just be a very smart shopper in terms of the contracting, because even with the best materials, if it's not applied properly, if there aren't layers and breathing and mesh and so on and so forth. I don't have the terms of art handy because I'm not a roofer, but I mean, it might as well be a poorer material. So a lot of it's just how it's done.
Can you see around the park? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't interrupt.
Do you see around the park where work that's been done recently, and this already starting to curl? They weren't thick enough, and they did the job cheaply. And you see others that are just
Well, you saw that
standing the
with the
test of
boathouse,
time.
for example. The
Right.
boathouse is a prime example of cedar shake. A really good material is applied very badly, and so it's night and day in terms of the longevity and the wear. And no matter what the circumstances are, shade, sun, weather, not weather. I mean, you just have to have a good roofer. I could mention a couple of names.
I mean, I feel like I do.
Okay, good.
Well, that's
I just have a question. I'm sure you already asked this, but is there any possibility of extending the life of your roof by a coating? I applied a simple coat to a cottage that I own that has a very similar roof. And it was supposed to be a 2-year extension while I saved up to get the whole roof done. And it's been 7 years and it's perfect. It's just an almost invisible coating over the cedar. Is there any way you might be able
I
to
mean, it's
ask,
covered
or
in moss,
did you
so I
check?
don't think that's
Uh,
an option.
But you could take it off the moss. No, no.
New roof would be cheaper.
Okay.
And it's a huge roof.
I
It's a-
do see that.
yeah,
I do
yeah.
see that. That's a heavy.
So it's
Wood.
just gonna be cedar because the other problem is shingles are falling down. So, I mean, it's intact as far as we've never had a leak, but the shingles are falling and so I don't expect that to happen again for a long time, but in a year, it's gonna be covered in moss again and look terrible. So it's a dilemma, but
Or
there's
nice,
nothing to be done.
depending
Well,
on.
I know, but
I mean, yeah, I'm not an expert with roofing, but it seems with my roof, I think there's 2 layers of cedar underneath when they put asphalt before I purchased it. And so the asphalt tiles are coming off, but there's such a thick layer underneath that we've never had a leak. So I'm not sure whether there's, when they redo the roof, there's a very strong, impervious layer. So when you do have these faults of the cedar shakes having too much moss or coming away, that you will never have that leak. You'll have that. It won't be so aesthetically pleasing because there'll be like gaps. But as long as you don't have the water damage, that's
yeah, we've
that's
never had a
important.
leak, so
That's a
that's not a
blessing.
concern. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there may be some redundancy then below.
Not sure. But, okay,
Well, we appreciate,
Okay.
that.
Take your time.
that
Thank
keeping-
Sorry to give an answer that's not the one that you want.
Thank you so much. And now we'd like to invite up applicant number 3, the DeHaydus. If you prefer to stay back there, that's fine.
I think I know this person.
Yes.
Hello. How are you? Nice to see you. The Weeper is so pretty. I haven't had a chance to tell you.
Yes. That's a nice tree.
Great specimen. Yes, we are as recently as yesterday, but we probably, the week before that, probably weren't as great.
I've been by it. before.
Oh, then good. Hello.
Hello.
I love the color of your nails.
Nice to see you again.
Good evening. Hi there.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I missed the last meeting, and but with my colleagues, and I understand that the changes were the
Entrance.
entrance, right?
Right,
Yes.
because it was not something that I was really married to.
Oh, that's
so-
good.
So we can always review it at a later date, as long as we can get the section that I need to do right away. Because I need to move into that so that I can installation in the house and put the right doors and change the plastic bathrooms into something normal.
Right, right.
And by the way, I think this is really handsome, certainly as a placeholder, but even maybe it's a permanent solution.
Yeah, I think it's, I liked it as a permanent solution.
I do too, for
Yeah.
that.
Yes, I really did.
So I think we all have different opinions on the bar, which is great. So we share them with you. I'll just share you mine as to start off, and then my colleagues will chime in. My taste is very extreme, from very modern to very medieval.
It was mine.
It's so I personally I love cantilevered roofs, so that little detail, and it's very dear to me, having a place in Venezuela that's similar to that.
I mean, with that kind
You
of.
should have
ski
seen
jump.
that beautiful view that we had, the original plan that was accepted. It was absolutely divine. It had this whole roof on the side. I mean, it was
Oh,
like a dream.
I was part of the approval process of
Yes.
that, exactly, yeah, yeah. No, it
And
was
that was something that I loved, but it
for
things
practical
changed.
reasons, right, yeah, so it's.
But this is a way of taking that one sort of defining element of that and still having it, albeit not with the lakefront.
Right, and
little
also
bit
it
that-
gives a little bit of character to the house.
Gesture of, it's
Yes.
kind of a brazen gesture.
Yes,
Nice
it gives a
one.
little bit of grace to the house.
And it gives, yeah, and you're changing the house and removing sort of ugly skylights and that sort of thing, and so it's
And
an
having a
improvement.
nice metal roof and nice wood on the outside, and it's going to look like a normal house, I hope.
So the only quibble I had that I wanted to ask you about was that you have a 3-car garage, making it a 4-car garage. Is that's the only thing that jars me. Is there a?
We have 2 sons.
Okay.
Okay, so when they come, they have their own cars.
Mhm.
And so one of them always has to stay outside. So one of them is jealous that the other one was there first. So how do I handle that? So
Sounds
I
like a
was
very good answer
hoping
to me.
Mhm.
that this way they each have their own space and then I don't have to have a problem with them.
Well, I certainly, I wouldn't want to discourage them from visiting you, and so that's yeah.
That's the only thing, only reason why I don't need a 3-car garage. I have only 2 cars, myself and my husband. And with 1 extra car is fine, but since there are 2 of them, I have a problem.
Right.
And they stay for extended periods because the one son is in Florida. When he comes, he stays for a long time. And the other son,
And they
he
come-
lives almost part-time at this house. So,
You know,
They're
the
there.
other thing, just coming back to this, which I sort of like Christopher, I kind of like a really bold gesture, which I know this is. Might be in the manual, I don't know. But I will say this is that originally this thing that we had passed was hard on the lake, and it would have been quite visible. I still thought it was a great gesture, and so it would be great to have it on the, visible. But for what it's worth, this is now really quite softened in terms of its impact. I mean, there's so many beautiful oaks,
In the front especially.
3 or 4 different kinds of oaks, and they're just all handsome
And they're all in
specimens.
the front and it really blocks when you go across the lake. I never can see the house.
To the extent you might have, it would just be a glimpse of maybe this front, and that
And you-
now,
But even then you don't see it because of the
Right.
color of the house and the
Right.
trees. You cannot really make it out.
and you're improving the color, I think, too. It's slightly darker, certainly the roof is. So, I mean, I just feel as if the impact visually, if anything, is going to be reduced,
You will
not
not be able to see it
exaggerated.
from anywhere. You cannot see it from the left or the right or the back or the front. And in front, we don't have anybody anyway. It's a
Big rock.
big wall. I mean, a wall, a hill.
Right.
It's a hill that's
Between you and East Lake Road. That road.
no, between us, we're on East Lake.
Right.
We're facing the lake. Across the lake, there's no house. There's only one
Ah,
on the
okay,
right
right,
house side,
Right,
far away.
right.
On the left, it's an empty lot with boathouse.
The little restored greenhouse thing.
Yes, right. And then in back of us, it's East Lake, but we're far away from East Lake. We're all the way inside.
Right.
And my neighbors are wonderful people and they don't mind.
They haven't objected at all.
No,
Right.
and they're very nice people. And we see their house a little bit and they see me a little bit, but
Yeah.
we don't bother each other.
I think the back, the main living area of the house was that rear deck that they have is going to be greatly improved by the addition coming out and kind of making an exterior place rather than having just this long lozenge shape. It kind of like
Mm.
stops your eye and gives you kind of an enclosure. I think it's really gonna improve, maybe not from everybody else's perspective, but at least the homeowners that when they're on their back deck, they're feeling like they're not in
Long
this
sausage.
in the long spaceship that it
Space
gives.
sausage.
Yeah, it gives it a little sense of place, I think, rather than just kind of constantly leaning back towards the woods.
So in Talking Woods, it's obviously, you know, you as an architect, you're focusing on the architecture. And this often happens then, you know, all the surroundings just sort of like photoshopped in.
Right.
This is not what you're planning,
No,
of getting rid of the
No,
trees. and
all the
putting
trees
up
are staying,
walls.
all the
Yes.
trees. We're not
Oh,
taking
no,
any.
no,
of
no,
this.
no.
That's what, yeah.
Please don't, no.
Yeah,
No.
no.
I
There's
love my
only-
trees.
There's only one tree that is
There's a-
actually coming down
That's
because of
the-
the addition, just one.
The beech tree.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
200.
Yeah.
No, actually where the addition is going
It's
to
back
go.
here.
It's in the corner. It's actually,
Second page.
No,
of the plan
just
should have a site plan.
yeah, it's actually, beach is actually,
There's one, but
it's actually right about here.
where's the current garage?
Shape.
And that, the beach is right here, the one I'm talking about, it's giant.
Oh,
Definitely.
On this side of the house?
It's exactly there, I would say.
This
There's
one
a
here.
pine tree. And it's an ugly pine tree, but I don't know if we have to keep it.
I
it
don't
may not be
believe there's any
represented
trees
here
there.
because it,
Trees there.
do you see where the garage is on a,
Yeah.
it's right below the RM. If my eyes aren't really good, but
Which trees is,
or maybe it's no, maybe that's in the garage.
The only tree that I'm aware of is towards the, on the south side of the house, which is right here. It was right here. It's right where the L starts.
L.
My new elk
Oh, right.
starts, okay? And unfortunately, this, just the site, the space planning just, it has to be here, the L. There's really no other
Oh,
place.
so
to-
that is the beach right
Yeah,
there
it's-
on the corner.
It's on the corner.
Okay, so on the map, it looks like the house. When you're
Yeah, it's
standing
like
there,
right
there's
about
a
here.
good 5 feet away.
Right,
Right,
right, right. So that was the only, and on this side, there's nothing.
I mean, I would say for what it's worth that, you know, under the village code, when you can take up, you know, a maximum of 4 per year before you talk about disease. And here we're talking about a major construction. It's a terrible loss, but it's, you know, in the scheme of things. I mean, I'm so grateful that all these mature, majestic
wonderful.
oaks
Those
are
oaks
all.
are really special.
and they're not going to be at all touched by the construction whatsoever.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
But when people do take trees, to have to take trees down, we always encourage them to replace them. So you may think of some sons of beeches.
Okay.
I can do that. I don't know where I'm going to put them because I have too many trees.
Or maybe some
And-
nice understory, some nice witch hazel or
And
something
and
like
the
that.
problem is that we're having now, it's very interesting. When we moved, there's some pine trees everywhere. And I guess they had acorns, and now there's a whole bunch of little pine trees growing in this area. I don't know how many will survive, but we have like from there to here, like 30 of them, little things growing. They're
Right.
so cute. They're so small.
I think they come and go with the deers, you know, the number of deers and things,
Oh,
but
Don't tell me
sometimes.
about the deers. All my plants went,
Oh.
I did not know they were eating ivy, and they ate all my ivy.
They seem to eat everything, even if it's deer unfriendly. Depends how hungry they are.
I don't know.
Do we have any other comments or concerns or?
Would you mind submitting a more detailed landscape plan showing what's staying and what's removing? I mean, it sounds like at least one tree is coming down, correct?
Yeah, it's
I'm
just that,
sorry.
it's just that one tree.
It's only one tree
It's
that's
only
going
that
to
one
come
tree.
down.
Maybe we can even describe it in terms of the coordinates.
We may have one neighbor, Mr. Madden, on the video. You want to ask if he has any comments?
So do we have any neighbors or comments from the audience in the hall? Online, do we have any comments? Mr. Madden, did you have any comments you wanted to make?
No, I would just say, I appreciate the investment in our neighbors making in their property.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That's
Yes.
We do
Correct.
too.
I did get a email from Mr. Hellman And he didn't have any issues with the project either.
Good, thank you.
Excellent. So I would like to make a motion for the DeHadu residents at 106 East Lake Drive with the architect Ellen Roche
Mhm.
and dated 26th of May 2023. And it's numbered
1 through 8, if you see that.
okay, there we go, 1
1 through 8.
through 8. Do I have a second?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, do we have a last revised on the plans?
That's the revised.
26 is the,
That's okay.
5/26.
yeah, it's the latest.
And also to say that we didn't review the materials because they had been previously approved,
Good point.
right?
Yeah, and the
Nothing has
materials
changed,
remain
right?
the same.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes,
We
all
were
the,
Very happy with those.
yeah. Good point. And do we have a second?
Yes.
All in favor?
I'm-
Bingo,
Yay.
unanimous,
Thank you.
4-0.
Thank you for your patience.
Good luck with that, and hopefully your,
Hope it goes really smoothly.
Thank you very much for seeing us again.
oh.
I hope we don't see each other again until the front again.
Under
And that might be a while.
celebratory circumstances.
Do you need this here? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
¿Tienes el teléfono? Okay.
I've been thinking of all of your Thai and Cambodian Buddhas and sculptures ever since.
Like my
What a
Buddhas.
beautiful installation.
I'll give you a tour of all of them. I still have more stuff which is in boxes.
Do you really? Wow, it's quite a collection.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you.
That was something we had before, but it didn't come out. I think they postponed. it. So we'd like to call up the fourth applicant, Ms. Wolf.
Yes. Here, somebody sits out there.
Oh, whatever you like, yeah.
I brought Mark Gonzalez, who will be doing. the
Excuse
work.
me, the great Mark.
The great Mark Gonzalez.
That's what you meant.
That is what I meant, in case you have technical questions that I can't answer.
So just quickly to tell us, recap what you're proposing.
So basically, with my very unprofessional sketch done on the preview app, I just want to put some fencing atop the existing stone wall, just at the Camp House Road end of our property, because it runs from stable to clubhouse. And the stone wall that is on Clubhouse, sort of behind the boxes, I included a photo of that. I'll just basically match what's there
It's actually on the wall,
on the wall,
not in front of it. So
not in front of, not on either side of,
Just
just
So you
on.
take this sort of untreated picket and place it
Yes.
on top of. Right,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
And that's where I can't answer the specifics, because I know that it's anchored somehow with steel or something in the wall. But not to exceed the 6-foot height and.
So it's like a steel thing and then you frame it in timber and then there's timber between. Is that right? Or?
Right, there would be some bracketry, let's call it, that with light fasteners to not a big giant borehole like I've seen done, where people drill a giant hole and put a big pipe in it.
Yeah.
But just a bunch of light fasteners that won't really impact the wall at all to support the cedar. And will support the rest of the fencing.
and then you plan to have vegetation
So
timers and
Mark just planted, we've begun a process of planting in front of the wall to create sort of a green wall-ish thing. But I'm always happy for something green to grow on the fencing, whether it's ivy or whatever decides to, show up there.
and the reason behind this is like a screening because of the new
Yes, well, it's sort of twofold. Before the new door and window went in on the ground floor of that adjacent house, deer found a way of coming in because there's a little gate
Yes, of course they do.
from that house, and the gate was often open, and so then the
Yeah.
deer would find their way in, and then the hostas
Uh-oh.
disappear and other things disappear, and
The fay ray of plants, right?
so we're trying. I would like to try to prevent that from happening.
We were with you with that, yes. Great, well, that sounds, it sounds a perfect scenario to
It's a
me.
little bit shaded, right, here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
so-
a big Norway maple, that's sort of a lot.
I was wondering if Virginia creeper would take in that area.
I call Virginia keeper.
Well, and it's a native, which
Yeah, it's a
this
wonderful
fellow likes.
We all
Oh,
like.
you guys.
There will be nothing like Forsythia, don't worry.
There Well, and I'm guilty of that anyway, but I sort of inherited it, but
And the neighbors, your Mr. Ramos next door is,
I contacted Mr. Ramos and I also contacted Mr. Jensen, not Jensen, the neighbor up from the Ramos house.
Stanley Jenkins.
Jenkins.
Right.
Jenkins, and they both didn't have any issues with the project.
Great.
Okay, great. And do we have any other comments or questions?
No, I like it. I like that it's, in line with what there is.
Yeah, it's lovely.
And that is minimal boring into the stone.
And no comments from neighbors in the audience, online, any comments? No? No, well, I think it looks like a lovely project. I'd like to make a motion to approve the additional fencing with soft cedar pickets atop the existing stone wall to match what's already there. The Wolf property at 7 Stable Road. For the plans submitted on survey. We need a date, I guess. There's a date here when you submitted on the 2nd of May, 2023. All in favor? Sorry, second. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bingo! We have another unanimous.
So easy.
Thank you. Good luck with that. So I wish I'd worn my sweater that has a big Y on it for yes today. And then
Except
the
for
press,
plastics are concerned. And
exactly.
then we have to turn it inside out for a big N.
So the pressure's on.
Bye, Mark. Good to see you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
So the Pellet Solar and Ginchard property.
Hello.
We've got Spence on the screen. Thank you for accommodating him on Zoom.
Great.
That's your.
That's our architect, yes.
So again, I was remiss. I wasn't able to visit the site visit, but I hear my colleague seems to be very very happy with it. So sorry, let me turn it over to my colleagues because they have perhaps more feedback or more.
I have one more piece of
questions.
feedback, which is I'm just so thrilled, not only with the double gable, that very beautiful design, Mr. Spence. I guess it's your choice, or I don't know whose choice it was, but also getting rid of this fake Palladian window here that's in one of the two gables.
Yes.
I didn't even take that in before, but that is a great enhancement.
Yeah, we had considered actually putting them in on both and they looked like eyelids and they kind of scared me. And I said, Spence, maybe not.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I think I have a very high level of confidence because was it Mr. Spence that you did
Cass,
sorry, Mr. Cass, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Cass, you did, were you the one that did the proposal for the other property that you had? Yes,
That's right. Clubhouse.
yeah.
Yeah, we
which was-
love that too.
Which was a fabulous thing as well. And It's our loss that didn't happen as well. You could have done that and then.
No, we
done this
forgive
as
you.
well.
We did the paint colors at least.
I know that came out.
Took off the
Those are-
vine. Fix the chin.
So no, I didn't have any. Did you have any thoughts or issues?
Polly?
Yeah, we were lucky enough to walk on site. I think the materials we're all really happy with. We especially love the front entry and just think it gives the house like the balance or, you know, the symmetry that it needs. The only question I had when we were on site was just kind of the height of this back window here. Like, just, is it hitting the top of the roof, or is it just because it's two-dimensional, it will be like a little bit further down? Like where like that lines up
The
with
bay
this,
window.
the bay
I'll
window.
let Spence maybe answer that. I think it's probably the two-dimensional drawing, but go ahead, Spence.
We would like to be a few inches down just for the ease of how it frames. And I think so that that peak does continue through visually from the backyard. It's something we've been waiting to get some more firm measurements on the actual height of the house that we've been getting from the surveyor. We are doing a little pop-up in the bedroom there to make that master bedroom really a nice space up there, since ceiling heights on the existing second floor aren't really high. Yeah, we want to keep it below the peak if we can.
Would you guys ever, I think the whole design is great. I think it's great. I have really zero problems with anything to the contrary. I'm thrilled and grateful for it. I wonder, and what Molly just asked sort of leads me to sort of ask connected to corollary question, which is, would you ever consider getting rid of this finial, which seems overly dramatic for the design of the house?
Here.
Oh,
Yeah.
final thing. Spence.
Yeah, sure. You know, that's fine. Or
I feel as if it's, I have used this line before, probably shouldn't be a broken record, but it is like Diana Vreeland, like before you leave the house, take one thing off. I think that would be the one thing I might take off. I think it's actually, I've really come to love this dormer with its theatricality, like a hint of, you know, kind of arts and crafts castle gesture, you know, in what was, you know, it's becoming more arts and crafts because of this beautiful new thing.
Exactly.
So I feel like this finial is just one gesture too far. And of course it does, to going back to Molly, it does raise it up 6 or 8 inches. I mean,
A nice little point works.
because I think this, if you take that away, this is still going to have good drama and character.
Yeah, I
But a
don't
little
think it
bit more-
takes anything away from the design or aesthetic of the
You
home.
really won't even see it anyway.
I think what you'll see is
Yeah.
this beautiful copper over
Right.
as your child is growing and graduating from high school. By that time, it may even have a wonderful verdigris pattern on it, be on its way to that, and that's going to be a thing of beauty.
Yeah, I don't think
That'd
we'd
be fine. And yeah, we love that window because I think it's going to give them more of a panoramic view out of
Oh,
their
the
bedroom.
experience, I can imagine.
Yeah.
And then in the back, you had the sampling of colors, right? So this was the color match.
Benjamin Moore, best
Yes.
efforts.
So when we inherited this home, they didn't leave, previous owner didn't leave us any
Outdoor
paint.
colors.
So obviously, you know, paint oxidizes with time, so it's kind of hard to know. So we were trying to just do our best guesstimate of what the color scheme is, and so you can see kind of depending on how the light hits
Right,
and where you're taking the picture from, they're all kind of in that bluish with a touch of gray. So we would do our best to match like for like. So TBD, I guess, on the exact paint color, but it will be very much in keeping with the existing home color
Yeah.
palette.
Yeah, and if it's okay too, if we send an email with the actual color by when we get there, 6 months from now or so, I mean, that's probably when we'll actually address the, hey, is this okay?
Right.
Yeah, I think that'd be nice, yes,
That's
for us
fine.
Yeah,
to,
that's absolutely fine.
Because when we did the
Influence you.
clubhouse too, we painted the house, we waited days, we watched at the angles. I mean, it took weeks to pick that color.
Yeah, no, it's
Actually months.
And I for one, I'm happy to see more specificity, but I have to say, just as categorically, all of this looks viable and good to me. I would be happy signing off, period. I don't know if that's appropriate or not, but I see nothing here that wouldn't be in some way. It'll be just a question of which,
Right.
Yeah.
not whether it works or not, but how it ends up shaking out.
Yeah. If we go a little darker, would that be okay? If we go a little lighter?
Honestly, I think it's going to be a beautiful design, whether you go darker or not.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'd be happy for you guys to
Yeah.
participate in the color selection, but that's gonna take us probably
So we
4 months from now
We're not there
before we
yet.
really get to that point, so.
Yeah.
I mean, like Rob said, I again have a high level of confidence. So I don't personally feel the need to stipulate that as
It
a.
won't be hot pink, I promise.
I was literally just thinking about pink.
Were you really?
Yeah.
We've been married for too long.
I was just about to say that.
And if it's a boy, would it be Claude number 4?
That is the contested question, not an issue right now.
TBD.
It may be the 4th, or it might be a name that honors Claude's family history, so we will see.
It needn't be resolved here.
But I this is a recorded line and we haven't actually talked to the rest of the good
We didn't have
so-
the formal state here.
So do we have any other questions or concerns, or do we have anyone in the audience? Hello, or anyone online that would like to? And the neighbors. Well, you don't have a neighbor, do you?
We do, but not really,
Right.
because our neighbors have that amazing front yard. That's like a football field basically,
Yeah.
so
All that.
we don't really see them. They don't really see us.
We have a lot of tree coverage as well between the properties.
Yeah.
And the Psalm House is the only one that would see us from their back.
It's amazingly isolated. That's the
Yeah,
part of the
you're
beauty of
surprised
that
right when you saw the.
property.
I don't really see, when we say where our house is, they're like, oh, wait, which one?
Yeah.
Where?
People probably know it only because everyone loves to walk on that
Everyone
street
walks
because
around,
it's,
they never look
that's
up.
the only reason.
Yeah, a lot of people never look
Walking,
up.
you're slow enough that you can see it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, but just when you're in.
Oh.
Sorry, I love this house and everything you do. I think it's going really well. I would only say that in terms of fairness to everyone else, I have total confidence in
yes.
these lovely colors.
I hear you.
I love them all. I think they're beautiful. But I'd really like to take you up on the offer of
Yeah,
just signing off in the actual. Just
You know what? I'm
because-
persuaded.
Because everyone, we'd like to.
If you're okay with it, it sounds like you are.
Would
But
an
it-
email be suffice on that, or would we still have to
Well, why
come?
Or what
No, I
we
think-
could do is like get the approval on the design today, and then
Yeah.
when we get closer to the paint selections, we would be happy to submit them to the bar and then.
Under the
Yeah.
proviso.
And then
100%,
we could do some paint on the house. and
Totally,
come
yeah.
by And
Yeah.
check it out, is that.
Which as Stephanie says, that is what we
Yeah.
ask everyone else to
Just
do.
in
so-
case there is a hot pink
You're right.
contestant somewhere down the
Oh.
line. It's just-
Well, or your paint blind.
Or
your color
someone,
blind.
yeah, no, so that we can say,
That's
fine.
that's a good.
That's definitely fine.
thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
It's not gonna be any delay. I mean, I will
there's no-
get on my bicycle and come round immediately.
I honestly literally I tried my best to,
Fantastic.
I
I
tried.
actually want that second gray. I was actually trying to peek for the name so I can borrow.
Oh,
it.
this one?
But
Which one are you looking at? This?
I love
Oh.
this one and I also
The
Sea
Star.
Star.
one.
Yeah, and palm.
It's really nice.
I will be getting those samples for my book.
okay.
Thank you.
And if I waited a little longer at night, this would be mostly all gray palette.
Yeah, just
Because
really
at nighttime, our
depends.
house looks gray.
That's what I love about
Mhm.
colors,
Yeah.
when they
Mhm.
have, when they appear
So much
differently in different lights, when they add something. It's fantastic.
And Christopher, these were just taken by them, so we could see the different points of where you see the house from the road.
Yeah, this is one for us, the rich line, because we have a conforming condition that's like a half a foot above, I guess, the existing. But we just wanted to point out that, it's really, you
Yeah.
can barely see the home from the street, and even
Right.
after we do the addition, you're not going to see it.
tree coverage is, we have 70+ foot trees on our property that surround us, which is
It's
awesome.
really spectacular.
Clearly, people have been taking care
So
of it.
beautiful.
Oh, yes.
And when you mentioned the riparian barrier,
Did I mention that?
yeah, our house is surrounded by a riparian barrier.
Oh, there you go.
We never get,
Can we never get geese?
he was like saying, he says, that's why, so.
That's one of the great benefits. So I'd like to make a motion for the Palazzola Ginchar property at 97 South Loop with the architect Spence Cath. Plans submitted on the 25th of May 2023. Plan numbers E104, A104, A200, A201, 3, A90B, and A90C. And that nearer the time, the specific paint colors will be communicated to us for approval. And do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Bingo!
Oh,
Yay.
Well, we're very excited to be able to approve your plans that were so beautifully presented, all the i's dotted and the t's crossed.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to have a backwards and forwards, and that's so we appreciate that, and we'd like to shout that off the rooftops for
awesome.
other residents, so to make it this whole process smooth sailing. And so we appreciate you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you for, yeah.
Beautiful.
That was something
Oh,
else.
no, that was
Thank
Whole
you so
community
much.
came, Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Night,
Have a great
everyone.
night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
And we would like to approve the minutes of the meeting, May 15th meeting.
Mhm.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Like to make a motion to close the meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Bye.
Bingo.
Okay, this is great.